Welcome. We will wait for a couple of minutes for other participants to join and we will start. Thank you for participating. In 2 minutes, we can start. If my dear colleagues agree, I think it's fair to wait another 2 minutes. Okay, let's start this webinar. I would ask my fellow co-panelists to switch off their cameras so it would be easier for the audience to follow the speaker. Thank you. So a warm welcome from our side. We're really happy to meet you, even online. And of course, let's hope that soon we can meet physically again. Nevertheless, I believe that we can constructively interact, even in this digital format. I am Orestis Trasanidis, and as you can maybe have already suspect, I'm working in EIT Digital because I defended the digital format of this meeting. And I am the EIT AI community coordinator, and I will try to moderate this event. Before we start, before I pass the mic and the video to my dear colleague Tommaso, I would like to raise 2 points. So this event will be recorded. So in case that none of your personal details will be visible, but in case you want to use the chat, or if you want to be cautious, just change your name and you can participate without disclose your personal details. And another thing is that when we were organizing this event, we were really puzzled about what we should present, because as you will see later, we are, let's say, working on every aspect of the AI, and we really wanted to know what are you thinking about AI and what is your perception, what is the definition of AI. So please send us in the chat your ideas, what you think. It's very important, since even the European Union is still trying to define what is AI, what is AI made in Europe, and having the chance to look at the registrants list. I know that all of you are very experts in your field, and you can elaborate more on this. So without further ado, Tommaso, please switch on your camera, and I will share your presentation now. Can you hear me?
Thank you, Orestes. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining. I see that the numbers of participants are rising, and we've been informed that we have a wide diversity in the public in terms of participants from civil society, NGOs, local governments, and businesses. So it's a pleasure to be here in the spirit of this multi-stakeholder webinar in typical EIT community fashion. I'm Tommaso Emiliani from EIT Food, one of the EIT thematic knowledge and innovation communities, KICS, as we like to call ourselves in the EIT community ecosystem. And it's a pleasure to be here indeed. And I would like to start this webinar by introducing all of you to the new EIT Strategic Synergies cluster, of which the artificial intelligence activity that will be presented today is a fundamental component. While my colleagues from the EIT community will today present the achievements of the EIT Artificial Intelligence projects during 2021, and will probably also shed some light on what's boiling up for 2022. I would like to provide a little bit of context to help you locate the EIT AI project within the broader scope of what happens in the EIT community ecosystem. This will hopefully also be useful for you to identify the opportunities for collaboration and potentially also funding that lie in our ecosystem. We can move to the next slide, maybe.
Oh, but it's not visible.
We're still in the first one, I think.
Not even now?
Yes,
okay.
We now move to the second.
Something with the full screen. I don't know what is happening, sorry.
Well, yes. The participants to this webinar can have all the presentations after the webinar, so it's not the end of the world if not all the content is screened properly. Anyway, yes, we were saying this first presentation is about the EIT Strategic Synergies cluster. What is this cluster of the EIT Strategic Synergies? In the EIT community, we use a lot of jargon, so we'll try to shed some light on all these acronyms, which may be a little bit hard to digest for the newcomers or for those who are not so used to the EIT language. So as you may know, as you're attending this webinar, which is indeed organized by the EIT community, the expansion of us as a community, as the EIT community, has been promoted by our mother institution, the EIT, the European Institute for Innovation and Technology, through the creation of 8 KICS, knowledge and innovation communities, with specific thematic focuses. Orestes, whom you just met, is from EIT Digital. I am from EIT Food, and there will be many more colleagues presenting today who belong to different KICS. So far, the EIT and the EIT community, or especially the KICS, would join forces in the framework of ad hoc projects where interest in a specific project was shared among different KICS. However, the urgent challenges posed by societal issues such as climate change or the COVID-19 pandemic triggered the need for a more systemic approach to the so-called cross-KIC activities. So activities where more than one EIT KIC would collaborate for the sake of producing impact. Hence, our mother institution, the EIT, promoted the creation of a strategic synergies cluster to bundle together and leverage the impact of KICS joint activities by establishing a transdisciplinary, multi-stakeholder innovation ecosystem of excellence. Thus, the EIT Strategic Synergies Cluster includes the activities identified as strategic priorities for the EIT community and aims at exploiting operational and financial synergies among those and between them and other EU, national, and regional funding programs and priorities. The objective is the multiplication and the scaling up of impact produced by the EIT community towards the objective of establishing an innovation ecosystem in Europe, which really is trademark for excellence. We can go forward. Thank you. So how does this EU strategic synergies cluster look like, and why are we talking about this cluster in the framework of an event on artificial intelligence? Well, because more concretely, in 2022, 4 main projects or activities have been selected to be part of this strategic synergies cluster. As you can see, these are artificial intelligence for Europe, indeed one of the 4 strategic synergies activities selected, and the focus of today's webinar. But then there are also other 3 called circular economy collaboration, New European Bauhaus, and women entrepreneurship. In their thematic variety and technical diversity, the scope of all the activities is compatible with the pressing EU objective to promote a transformation of the EU society and economy in the sense of environmental sustainability, social inclusiveness of people and of places, and tangible improvements in the quality of life of EU citizens and citizens of Europe. Furthermore, all the activities selected in their diversity mobilize the EIT community ecosystem through the notorious knowledge integration triangle approach that implies the co-design and co-implementation of activities of business creation, of innovation, and of education through the cooperation between civil society actors, businesses, and knowledge institutions. Thus, the EIT Strategic Synergies Cluster aims at capitalizing on the activities of support provided to startups, as well as scaling up the impact of the educational models and professional workshops implemented across the different projects. And we will hear more about how this specific Strategic Synergies Cluster activity, Artificial Intelligence for Europe, does in fact support startups and promotes educational activities all across the educational spectrum of learners. We can move to the last slide. I'm basically yes, it's the previous one. Thank you. I'm at the end of my presentation, and of course my colleagues will now delve into many more details about what we've been really doing in the artificial intelligence activity in 2021 and what we will be doing in 2022. But I would like to pinpoint 3 aspects which are really extremely important and which are also at the roots of the decision of our mother institution, the EIT, to pick this activity and to put it into the strategic synergies cluster. Why is this activity so important for the EIT and for the European Union as such? Well, first of all, of course, because artificial intelligence is an area of strategic importance for the EU, driving economic, of course, but potentially also social development and contributing potentially to climate change, to the fight against climate change. The second one, because this activity really has a strong component of stakeholder engagement and of expansion of our ecosystem, which we said is multidisciplinary and multi-stakeholder, and therefore it's really something that we want to nurture and we want to continue to expand. And this very webinar is a fantastic way to do so. And finally, because a big chunk of the activities which have been carried out during 2021 in the artificial intelligence project were revolving around education. And we think that in order to fill the digital divide and to also upskill our citizens, our students and our professionals on AI and digital skills, well, this is something that is very important all across the activities that the EIT is undertaking. And with this, I thank you. I thank all of you in the public and Orestes for your kind presentation swapping. And back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommaso. Really, you know, I'm trying to find the next presentation because as a moderator, it's a bit tricky sometimes. But I really want to thank you for this presentation. It was it's very important for us to explain how the AI is included in the general scope of the EIT. And okay, this is my presentation, and I couldn't ask for better introduction about this. And I'm moving forward to my presentation, and again, I would like to highlight this element, and because what is very important to understand is that I'm running my presentation, but you will see it. What I found very important to understand that we're already working on AI, the different kicks of the EIT, supporting, funding the AI in many ways, deploying disruptive technologies in the Europe. But what is this activity? What is this project for the EIT? It's a more strategically positioning AI in Europe. And even though, and I'm so happy that Tommaso already explained you some things about the EIT. I add this presentation just to show you when we are talking about the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, we need to think about those three pillars: entrepreneurial education, innovation, and business creation. So think of the AI through this perspective, through the perspective of those three pillars, in order to start understanding what we are doing. And because we are discussing about the EIT AI community and the EIT kicks, this is the time for you to start understanding all of these acronyms and of EIT. And we tend to believe that people already know when we are discussing, but this is not true. So KIC means knowledge and innovation community. It's different organizations, brothers and sisters working together in a horizontal way about AI. So these 6 KICs are now committed to build this EIT AI community. And you can see the benefits of this in the next presentations, how can really harvest knowledge and insights from each KIC in order to build this strategic project for the artificial intelligence in Europe, because we need to tackle AI in having in mind the context and the different sectors. So I included this presentation, even though that I know that you are already know about this, is how the AI is changing the Europe. But what I wanted to illustrate is that I would like for you to look at this from the right to the left. So I know that the most of the time when we are thinking about AI, we're thinking about the product, the models, the algorithms, not so much about the business plan behind these models. And this is actually where are we working a lot, understanding these business plans, enhancing them, and even one step further, the jobs and the skills that the people that are working need to have. And of course, everything starts from the mother of everything, the soul of our society, the education. And this is why this slide it's good for you to really understand how we approach the AI, because this is a vital element today. And because we are approach it, as I explained, we start building some scouting elements, some scouting activity services, if I may say, by creating databases on AI, courses on startups that are already there and offering great technologies and innovations. And not only that, we build tools to enable an exploratory analysis through visualization that allows the user to identify nodes and trends. But we're not just handing over this knowledge to the general public. We're also we will provide tailor-made technology and education scouting services for universities, public institutions, and large corporates that they really want to find what is missing in the activities. But not only this, we're supporting, as I say, AI business models. How? By creating a tool, an AI-based tool, that helps professionals to find the course that can lead them to their dream job. Each element will be explained more thoroughly by my dear colleagues. And we also build an AI maturity tool. So it's a free charge self-assessment web tool for the user to understand the current performance and readiness level of applying an AI in their organization, in their companies. And this year we will deploy a program for matching the needs of large corporates, of companies, with startups that already have the technology and they know how to disrupt and support the activities of the companies that they really want to implement AI, but they don't have the capacity to do it. And how we are deploying, and we are confident about all of those tools, and that we're really supporting by first building a strong theoretical background. And this is what we have done the past years. By looking at the policy perspective, the emerging business models, the ethics, and recently the taxonomy, creating a taxonomy for the European AI ecosystem. But what we want to achieve and how we will move forward only by engaging stakeholders, that they have more knowledge on their specific sectors. And this is the way forward. Different needs, different perspectives. This is what we need in order to start realizing this AI made in Europe. And if you want to have an overview, this is what I promised with my presentation of what we're doing and where we want to be in the next years, and how our impact, the circles, will be increased, is this slide. The education and the innovation, we gather the data, we created information, we're very close to knowledge, but we want you to be more involved and to start building partnerships with you in order to move forward and to have this really come close to wisdom. And when we have those elements, we will enhance even more, empower even more the business creation and the acceleration. And these interconnections between the impact of each pillar, it's what we will try to achieve in the next year. And this is actually the EIT AI community, different stakeholders working together on acceleration services, education, market assessment, and scouting services. I will show you once more the program, and with great pleasure, I will give the floor to my colleague Adrian, who will elaborate more on the AI innovations for SMEs. Thank you for your attention. Adrian, I know that I need to give you the rights to be a presenter, so I will do it right now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Orestes, thank you for a nice word, a nice introduction. I hope you can see now my screen, maybe.
Yes.
Now I should be also in presentation mode. So again, from my side, welcome to our dissemination event. I hope you're fine with what we presented till now. I think it's a lot of information to take in. I'm Adrian Bablock. I'm actually a project manager at EIT Manufacturing. And as EIT Manufacturing, we're responsible, let's say, for the AI innovations for SMEs. Because as we know, AI is a broad topic. We have a lot of players in it. We have players being really far already implementing a lot of AI solutions in their processes, in their management, in their business. But we also have some smaller companies which don't have the concept, which maybe ask themselves, okay, how prepared are we for AI? Do we already have to use it? How to start maybe also, yeah? And that's where we also wanted to deliver a little bit of a solution for it already. Together with the VTT, which is a Finnish research institute, which, let's say, designed the AI maturity tool we launched with them on our website. It is a small self-assessment tool just to find out a little bit about AI. If you're maybe in your company already ready for it, yeah, so, or what would be the need to really use AI, and not just use it, but utilize it and benefit from it. Therefore, we also wanted to make the hurdle as as low as possible in the end. Therefore, this tool is already accessible in 7 languages. It's accessible in Finnish, English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, and Polish, which we choose now to roll out. It is open on accessible on our website, and in the end, it's like we already said, a free of charge self-assessment tool. So you can just go to it. You have to log in. You can, of course, we ask a little bit of information from you because we want also to rate it a little bit around the sector. We want to analyze how far each sector may be processed already in using AI or how ready it is to use it, and from that make a little bit of conclusions how to, let's say, enhance the use of it in its end. The maturity tool in itself is pretty short. It's just 12 questions structured in 6 categories. You have, let's say, 5 possibilities to answer. It's nothing hard. You can just go to it, have a little bit of background information, of course, using AI. If you're questioning what we are asking, you can just come to us. You have the contact form in it, no problem at all. And we also have already some use cases implemented, which you can all just browse to get a little bit of, let's say, insight what can happen or what could be the end goal you want to reach in the end. Yeah. The 6 categories we have is for one, strategic and management. The other one is product and service, competencies and cooperation, processes, data and technology. It's pretty important that we rate it in, let's say, this different categories, because it's not important for you to be the best in everyone. It's dependent on what your business is about, what you're trying to sell, what you're trying to do, how far you're going to, let's say, to achieve the maximum readiness in itself. So when you, let's say, complete the survey, you will get a short overview. In this, let's say, spider diagram, you will have 2 results in it. One is let's say, a general result, which would depict how companies similar to yours are arranged and how you yourself are arranged. This is just a test case, so don't wonder about it. In the end, you see that, let's say, the overall structure is around maybe the readiness from 1 to 2. The test case, and this was in let's say, in the process direction, pretty far already, which can be good, can also be a little bit bad, because on the strategic and management part, nothing happened. So you have to enhance, to work a little bit in this direction, to try to implement some more solutions, implement some data collection, some sensor use cases, and so on, to enhance your process. From this point, actually, this is just a starting point for us. Yeah, so you're going, you analyze yourself, you can talk with us, get into contact with us. We bring you into contact with maybe some of our startups or different sectors, depending on where you are from and what you want to reach. And we also will make a workshop. Yeah, we will try to enhance it as far as possible, because a survey of 12 questions is, we have to be sincere, is of course pretty fast done. And what then? So we want also to help you to go deeper in it, because I think each company has a little bit of specialization in their own field, and we want to help you to find the right answers to what you need and what you want to reach. We will design a workshop in the future weeks to come. And after, let's say, you make the first assessment, analyze the results, and then we try just to make some ideas for you. And this actually leads to also another program we are, let's say, trying to make, because we want to bring also, of course, everybody together in a trustworthy environment. That's the Disrupt Me methodology. This was actually devised by the EIT Health Hub in Israel. It's just a, let's say, trustworthy framework for matchmaking. What we do is we try to bring companies together with startups or with SMEs in one common base, so that everybody can talk to each other. And we don't want you to make, let's say, to make your needs visible. And for that, just a little example how this will work, you will have to apply to us, yeah, with one use case, with an idea, with a problem for us, and we will then look for companies that solve the solution. If it's the startup, okay. If it's already an existing company that already scaled up, ramped up, has a lot of proven contests, also okay. We will try to bring you together to your need and solve your problem. Not just any problem, but solve your problem. And then we'll see how it goes from there. But this is then, of course, derived on your actions also. And that's a little bit what we try to do in, let's say, this work package, what we also will do in the future. And yeah, I think the first applications for this, let's say, Disrupt Me matchmaking will be in May, so stay tuned. The dedicated time frame is not finalized yet, so we will have to look a little bit about this, but we will inform you. We'll come back to you and we will ask for your ideas. And I hope you come also to us and talk with us, because we want to also to solve your needs. Yeah, and for that, I would say thanks for your attention in this. And Orestes, I think soon you can take over again. And I think Maji is the next one to take over. And thanks again for your attention.
Oh, thank you, Maji, for switching on, for joining without even saying anything. And I would like to say something before I pass the mic and the video to Maji. We would like to discuss with you. I mean, my colleagues are very knowledgeable, skillful people, but we have just 30 minutes to present what we do. But in order to help us share with you our knowledge of what we do, we would like to see your questions, and we will be happy to receive emails and your questions in the chat. This is it. Maji, I'm gonna give you the rights to present. Okay.
Great, thanks, Orestes.
Please confirm that. Okay, and I'm switching off my camera now, Adrian.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. So thanks, Orestes. My name is Maji Liuk. I'm data manager at EIT Health, and together with Marcus Chiri from EIT Climate Geek, we're going to continue this presentation about the results of an analysis we did in the training offer in Europe we have for artificial intelligence. We were interested not from the academic side, not from the science, from the research, but to put artificial intelligence in practice and to identify which are the needs for the AI professionals to bring this to the market. So for this, and in this short presentation, we're going to try to answer these questions. What's the current offer in training, but which are, if any, the missing courses that are of relevance for AI professionals, and what we do from EIT to contribute to fill some gaps that can need some additional, some specific attention. From one side, we identified which are the skills and the tools that are relevant for professionals in AI. This is, from the one hand, something we did here. On the other hand, we created a data set, a database of courses already present in the community, a good representation of the AI training in Europe. And for each course, we've been tagging them with the specific skills and the tools that are related in the specific course. And with this data set, this is the data set we've been using for the analysis. And I'm going to, with Marcus, to present the results of this. Talking about the skills and the tools, we were not interested to, as mentioned, to the skills and the tools that are used in the community from academy, from research. We were looking at the skills and the tools required in business. For this, we went to LinkedIn and we looked at the keywords that were included in the professional profiles and job offers that are published in LinkedIn. Scanning the content of those profiles and those job offers, we selected a set of skills and tools, and there were about 80 skills and tools, and we organized those skills for the different professional roles working in artificial intelligence: data engineer, data scientist, data manager, data translator, data steward, and data protection officer. Could be organized in a different manner, but this can be a good organization of profiles that are needed in business for the adoption and deployment of artificial intelligence. And we were allocating all those skills and tools to the corresponding professional role here. We've been also identifying which skills and which tools are appropriate at the different stages of the development of AI projects. We designed this workflow here from the early stages of data preparation, data analysis, model creation, model test, model deployment, and also transversal areas like privacy, security, and infrastructure. All those skills and tools were also located at the different stages, and we were also including the connections, the matches between professional roles and that apply at each of these different development stages. This goes for the first part, for the identifying the taxonomy, let's say, of the skills and the tools. On the other hand, the database of courses, we created this database of around 900 courses coming from different organizations in Europe and worldwide, a half of them from external organizations, universities, different centers, distributed directly by them or through different platforms. A part of the courses also offered by EIT. In 2021, EIT Food Raw Materials, in No Energy, Health and Digital had an offer of 47 courses in targeting AI. This year, I'm aware that manufacturing is already including some additional courses in AI, and we'll keep this updated. And finally, a specific course, the master degree of data science, organized and promoted by EIT Digital. We've been also analyzing the specific content of this master degree. So for each single course of this, we were tagging each course with a skill, tool, development stage, and professional role that applies to this course. And this is the data set of that we used for the study. We've been clustering the different courses that apply to each development stage, to each professional role. And with this, we are able to identify which can be the courses that are relevant for specific profiles, helping the promotion of the career of the AI professionals, identifying which are the skills of your profile. And here you have the courses that are targeting those skills and those tools. My colleague Marcus now is going to show you a live demo of the network we created to facilitate the navigation in this network, in this data set of courses connected with the skills and the tools. Marcus,
thank you, Maggi. Thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation. Can you see my screen here with the exaptive landing page?
Yes.
Okay. So as Maggi presented, we created all of those visualizations. We actually gathered all the data, so we have a very extensive data set. And then we had the challenge of displaying this in an intuitive way that could be easy for a European citizen to query that database. We used this network visualization tool. We created a landing page for this initiative. So here, this is the landing page our user will get to when they access the website of the initiative. They have the option either to do a registration or to see one of the pre-built views. Why we have these pre-built views? Because as Maggi presented, we have our data set is very good, very extensive, but this can also almost be a problem for someone who's not used it with all that information, because we, as he mentioned, we have here over 900 courses, so it can be a little bit difficult for someone from the outside to query it. For this reason, we created two previews here. So two pre-created visualizations. Let me just take this out of the way here. Yeah. So here, this is the first one, which is the user is invited to experiment with. We have here on the right-hand side of the screen, we have this explanatory panel, which is telling the user what they are seeing. And you can see here that the idea of this first view is to provide some sense of what is in this data set. We have here the blue stars are the 6 identified roles with AI, and these green squares are the technology types that relate to each of them. So for example, if you want to see which are the technology types used by a data engineer, you just have to click here, and then you can see what else, and you can see the descriptions of each of the items. So it's really interactive in a sense. So when the user has this first feeling of how the tool behaves, then they are ready to go to a more specific querying of the database, where they have more options to see what they are seeing, to see what they are looking for. Here again on the right hand panel, we have this explanatory panel. And here, the idea of this view is to allow for people to see all the elements, the relevant elements connected to what they have on the screen. So the idea here is that you choose a role and a technology type. In this case, we have the data scientist and the technology type pipelining, which can be viewed here. So a data science will have the pipelining as one of their technology types. And then you can come here to see all the courses that are related to this pair here. So for example, if I hover over data scientist, I will see these are the courses that are also related to this pipelining technology type. A very quick example, I can come here, for example, and start typing data engineer, and then the tool will bring me the courses which are related now to the data engineer. And if I click one of these courses, I have further information, for example, the website, who's offering this course, and further information that is course dependent. A very, very quick overview of the relationship among the elements. This is our metadata, so the infrastructure of everything we have there. So we have courses relating to roles, to technology type, the AI project development stages. It's a quite interesting project we have here. So back to you, Maji, to talk about the results we had from the data set.
Yeah, thanks. Very nice live demo, challenging. Orestes, could you please give me the control for the sharing? Yeah.
Let's be a little bit mindful of the time, Maji. Sorry for that.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. Just to show you the findings of the analysis of the data. For what refers to the external offering of the courses, what we found is that most of the courses in the community target the professional roles of data scientists and data engineers. Looking at the development stages in the model development phases. Specific skills that are target for those courses are Python and machine learning. This is the overall summary of the external offer in the community. The other development stages and the other professional roles are weak. The current offer in AI is weak in those other aspects. For what refers to the internal offer we provide from EIT Health, the professional role that is mostly target for those courses is data managers. Data managers are those that can better benefit from the training offer provided by EIT KICS. And domain knowledge as the main skill that is target from those courses. And they apply at the early stages of the development of AI projects. When we compare the two profiles from the external offering and the internal offering, we see that we are covering some of the weak training offer that needs to be reinforced in the market. But there are others, data protection officer, data translator, the one that is in the middle between technology and business, data steward to look after the quality of the data. For these profiles, we need more training that is not provided, neither by the external training providers nor by us yet. So this is some real finding to look for the future. We're looking at the development stages. From EIT, we're providing some training in privacy and security, which is a week offering from the external, from the training organizations. Training organizations in general offer most of the courses for model development and model evaluation. But for the model deployment is weak. And I think model deployment would be the key topic, the key stage where additional training is required to facilitate and to promote the adoption of artificial intelligence for companies, and also for exploiting the results of artificial intelligence projects from academia to business. So this is the summary of what we found. And for the next steps, we will continue updating this data set of courses. We plan to create a dashboard to facilitate a dynamic analysis of this data. We'll refine the ontology based on the taxonomy already created. We will enrich the semantic layer to better understand what's in the database. And we'll keep improving also the visualization of this information in the network shape. Finally, thanks to David Adrian and Pedro Muñoz, that together with Marcus and myself were the ones that were working in this part of the project. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you both of you for this nice presentation. And just remember that the 80% of the time that the software engineer is spending for creating something on AI, it's dedicated on preparing and organizing the data. So you can imagine how hard was this to be created. Without further ado, Engage is your time. Please start. But I need to. Okay, of course, it's my time first. I need to give you. Yeah. No, I know. Okay, I think you are ready now. Yeah, it's nice. It's visible. Yeah, thank you.
You see my slides? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So welcome from my side. I'm Inge de Waard. I work for EIT Innoenergy, and my background is in education, specifically educational technologies. From that point of view, I always think about how can we help the different citizens, the different AI professionals, and engage them in education itself. So from my perspective, it's not only strategy, not only organizations and SMEs getting into AI, but moving all of us into the sector as well, or make us more conscious. Now, the tool that I will focus on is called AI for Professionals. So it's specifically for individuals who want to dig into these courses and who want to fill the gap that they have of AI skills. Now, in order to do that, we, of course, as Margie already said, as Adrian already said, and Marcus, all of the AI courses are spread across the world. So we need to have a way to really get all of these courses into one central point of access. And in order to do that, we have been using as a scraper, a course scraper, inside of the AI for Professional tools. This course scraper takes into account both the EIT courses as well as the external courses, of course. Now, let me quickly give you an overview of what you can expect if you want to use the tool yourself, because you as an individual, no matter what your background is, if you have an interest in AI, you can go to the tool and actually look at the courses that might be useful for yourself if you want to dig into an AI job. Where can you find the tool? The tool can be found on the central website, obviously, and it's behind, a link is behind the button of AI for Professionals. Once you click on that button, you immediately get referred to a page that enables you to fill in a little bit of data. And we don't do much with the data, and it's also very basic data, but we need it in order for the tool to really understand what type of AI skills you already have and what might improve your job skills. So this is, in this case, I use an example of a data science expert. Once the tool has analyzed your CV, and that which takes like 2 seconds, you get an overview of the skills that they can find in your CV itself. And based upon these skills, they will look at job profiles that kind of match the skills that you have. You also get a matching score. Now, that's not a 100% accurate, obviously, but it gives an indication you're either more or less matching those particular jobs. When you look at all those jobs, you can choose one where you would like to go to in the future. And once you select a job of interest, you get like a small overview of what the course or what the job actually entails. And then after or more below that general description of job, you have a couple of courses that you might want to follow in order to enhance your skills or your AI skills in this specific part. And you can even, so if you go through the courses, you can just click and find a small description. Once you like a description, and for instance, you say, okay, security and privacy for big data, I want to take that course, you can just simply click on the button and you get immediately to the course, the live course, if they're available. So in just a couple of clicks, you have an analysis of your CV, a skills consciousness of per job that you might want to select. You select yourself which job you like, and you can select the courses you would like to follow in order to increase your AI skills. So that's in a nutshell what the AI for Professional tools is all about. And I look forward to any questions you might have in a couple of minutes. So that's it from my end.
Thank you so much, and thank you for doing it so quickly to help the whole process. I think we have already one question that it's your presentation already answered this question regarding the AI in solar energy. You can visit this tool and you can find the courses that we offer. And now Federico from EIT Digital, my colleague, has just joined, so I will give him the rights to present and talk more about our policy perspective.
I think you are the master of the presentation, Orestes, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot about this. So, okay. I think it's okay.
It is. Thank you so much, Orestes, and thanks everyone for being here, and also thanks to the previous speakers. So I will try to be brief, given in the interest of time. So what I'd like to present here is as part of the Cross-Kick initiative that we are running together with the other 5 kicks. We took the responsibility of analyzing the policy implication of AI, and we tried to provide some recommendations for the policymakers on what it means to operationalize the deployment of AI in Europe, taking into account what is the specificity of Europe when it comes to deployment of an enabling technology like AI. Of course, when it comes to analyzing AI, you need to make some choices. I mean, we didn't want to produce yet another report on AI, that is more or less what has been done already. So we thought of taking two angles to analyze the implications of the AI deployment and analyze these in two different vertical domains, also based on the experience and the expertise of all the geeks involved. So when it comes to the angles, we look on the one hand to the governance of AI, meaning the algorithms and the underlying data, and the other one is the scope. You see in the chart is the horizontal axis, meaning that AI can be deployed in a generic way or in a context dependent. And we worked on a scenario-based approach. We worked together with industry, entrepreneurs, but also with policymakers, also to facilitate the dialogue with two words that sometimes are not always aligned. You can see that based on that, we have defined 4 scenarios. You shouldn't take these scenarios as something self-contained. These are scenarios that represent the extremes. Then, of course, when we are coming to the practical deployment, most likely you will be somewhere in the middle, but at least with this analysis, the policymakers will know what happens when they move across one of the directions that you can see. So either they go up towards a more firm and regulated approach, or down towards a more self-regulation of AI. And then when you move from left to right to a generic deployment to more context-dependent deployment of AI. And of course, these 4 scenarios, you have the ideal scenario, which is the utopian, where we have context-dependent deployment with essentially everything self-regulated. It's probably an ideal scenario, not very realistic. And the opposite extreme is this dystopian, where essentially everything is regulated and everything is deployed in a generic way across the board. Of course, for more details, I invite you to read the report. I will share the link at the end of my presentation. But when we went then into the specific levers that policymakers have for the deployment, as I said before, we look more at the general approach in terms of technology, which is mostly what we at the EIT Digital look at. And then we look at the verticals as well. And I will not go in detail to each and every line of this table, but just to show you, if you focus on the left-hand side of the table, what are the levers? So you have the data and the organization, of course, the human capital, which I think the last 2 presentations of today were quite clear on the importance of skills. And then, of course, the trust element is fundamental in AI, and of course, the markets. When we go to the 4 vertical domains that we analyzed, I will also give some hints here. So if you go to the next slide, Orestes, please. We start from urban mobility. So this was manufacturing. So here you can see the 4 main issues and concerns. So of course, transparent regulation is an important element. Replacement of human labor. This is also a concern that is often on the table. Sustainability, of course, and then it goes without saying predictive manufacturing. And in the table you see some description of this potential opportunity, but also what are the recommendations for policymakers in these domains. Then we have urban mobility. If you go to the next slide, please. Urban mobility, where data, of course, plays an important role, not only the collection, but also the deployment of personalized services on that. The business model applied to the use of that data, and then of course sustainable cities is an important topic that we often talk about when it comes to smart cities. Then we have the health domain. You saw it before, and here you already see the difference compared to what we discussed before. It's very different when it comes to deployment of health data of a patient with respect to some machine-generated data of algorithm used in Industry 5.0. So here, of course, it goes without saying, it's the health data, which is definitely something to look at. The fragmentation of the healthcare systems in Europe, it's quite a concern. Innovation, of course, and then everything that goes together with remote healthcare and remote assistance to patients. And then, last but not least, the climate and energy levers. So here we have, of course, the privacy element, the prediction of climate risk, energy efficiency, and of course, the rebound effect. So all these, of course, now I went pretty fast, but for all these, we analyzed the different opportunities. And to summarize, what is the outcome of this is that I think there are four main conclusions, and you see them on the slide. First of all, an effective deployment of AI needs to take context-dependent decision and into account. It's not the same to deploy AI for a B2B application in the industry, in digital industry, versus deploying something related that uses personal data of patients in an hospital. Policies also should be flexible enough to allow different applications when it comes to AI machine data and personal data. Algorithm transparency and explainability should also be considered when the policy measures are deployed. And of course, as a bottom line, the regulation should be flexible and should, of course, minimize risk and ensure that European values are respected and deployed together with the technology. So these are the conclusions. I, of course, invite you to read the report. You will see the link in a couple of slides because there you can find more details. And maybe Orestes, I can cover a bit on the next step. So now what we want to do next. So of course we want to make sure that this report reaches the policymakers and is applied, but also we think we should continue in this direction and go beyond the pure AI towards more the relationship between AI and digital technologies with other either vertical domain like finance, or other policy priorities of the European Union, like the Green Deal, for example, or all the attention that comes with digital skills nowadays. And as part of this activity, we are also strengthening our stakeholder engagement, and this covers both European level, but also national initiatives around AI. You see some of them listed there. With some of them, we are already engaging. For example, the AI on demand platform, we are part of that. But also the upcoming Digital Europe program, together with the European Digital Innovation Hubs, and some other national initiatives. For example, in Hungary, I know there are some initiatives related to AI where we are collaborating with. And last but not least, I think there is, this is the roadmap that we are trying to develop. So just to show that we are not going randomly across the board, we have a clear roadmap with specific stakeholder groups here. You see them there, from the public sector to entrepreneurs and academia. And yeah, that will be the focus for this year and the next one. And yeah, the report is there. In case of questions, you can reach out to me or Orestes, and we'll be happy to provide more information. And of course, if you pass by the EIT house, you can also get a physical copy of the report on top of the PDF version. Thank you so much. I hope I've been in the time. I think you are on mute, Orestes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Federico, and apologize for not following the presentation as good as I wanted to, because I was answering your questions. So I hope that I answered all of them. Some of them were private. This is why are not visible. I would like to thank you all. In case that you don't have any other questions, I would ask my fellow dear colleagues to switch on their camera. So we hope that in the future we will have the opportunity to discuss more with you and really collaborate, because as Federico just explained, we are building a roadmap together with our stakeholders, and we're depending a lot on the interaction with you and how we can activate and all of those tools and elements via your help and your participations. So thank you all. I don't know if I missed anything. Please, you can compliment. Otherwise, I will just end the meeting, hoping that this is the first of many in this year. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks everyone for attending. And thanks also to Orestes for, let's say,
Yes.
moderating all of us. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for that.
Indeed.
Thanks.
Thank you, Orestes.
Bye.